Hello, happy Sunday, everybody. Welcome back to NP Now's YouTube channel. I'm Saikira. I'm coming on today to talk to you guys about the transition from RN to NP. I got this inquiry from someone who was asking about what nurse practitioners should be taught in school, basically, and some of the things that they were concerned about NPs not being taught, basically. So I thought this was a good topic because this is something that I go over in my online course that I have for new graduate nurse practitioners. And I think it's an important thing to cover because I did struggle with this myself when I first became a new grad. I was actually operating with the mindset of an RN still. So I think that going over this is of value to you. So again, my name is Saikira. I'm a family nurse practitioner. I've been practicing for about half a decade now, and I have experience in multiple areas. One of the things that I have a lot of experience with is actually jobs, like working at multiple different jobs. I never had more than one job as an RN, but as an NP, I've had up to 4 jobs at one time, which is absolutely crazy. I don't do that anymore, but it was good because I got a lot of experience with, different settings, different skill sets, working with different people, different clientele, talking about salary, contracts, and collaborative agreements and negotiating. I got a lot of experience doing that in that process of having so many jobs or job hopping in a way, so per se, that a lot of us do, or at least myself. So with the transition RN to NP, of course, so RN, you basically are employed by a hospital or facility. They tell you what your salary is going to be, what your job duties are. You carry out your provider's orders, whether you're working with a PA, a physician, or an NP. You basically have to ask for permission with like everything you do as an RN. I believe, there's multiple areas that RNs work, but I'm talking specifically more about staff RNs versus clinical nurse practitioners, in the clinical setting, working with patient care. There are like managerial RNs and things like that, but I'm not really referring to those as those positions as of in this episode. I'm looking more clinical. That's because that's where a lot of you are going to be going into clinical positions, because once you get out of school, you need to get that clinical experience. It's really important to do that. And if you are coming from like manager to NP into clinical, this still can pertain to you as well. So you're considered basically like support staff when you're an RN. You're an employee, and that basically you have to like kind of take the salary that you're given. Your contract is like a general contract that like you don't sign a contract as an RN. I never really signed a contract. It's kind of like you apply for the job online, they hire you, you go through the hiring process just like any other employee of the hospital and or wherever you work at, and that's really it. You get your training, usually with another RN who's has experience. And I know as a beginner new grad RN, I got a lot of training because I was coming straight from fresh out of school. So you need that extra training as well. So you that's one thing that you will not expect. Don't expect that as an NP, because I don't think that I got even a month training as an NP, to be honest with you, when I got my first job, because they expect for you to really know your stuff, and they like the learning doesn't end, but you have like, your collaborative that you can call, or usually you're working with people that you can ask questions. So they want you to be on your own pretty quickly. So that's like RN in a nutshell in a way. Then as far as when you go from RN to NP, so as an NP, the big thing that I will say as an NP is you have so much more power than you think. As an RN, like that was nothing. As an NP, you have so much more power. Why? Because you see patients and you're a revenue generating provider. What that means is you bring in money. As an RN, you weren't necessarily bringing in money. You were the support staff for the money makers, right now, and then you move up to money making now. So that is a big, big thing. And the reason why I want to drive this point home to you guys so badly is because when you are a revenue generating provider, you dictate how much they pay you too. That's why I say when you're an RN, you get whatever contract they give you, or you just apply to the job and that's it. But no, when you're an NP, you get an actual contract. I have my contract here somewhere because, as you guys know, I'm in the midst of negotiating my contract where I'm at right now. I'm renegotiating it actually. But you have this long contract that you have to look through, make sure that, the clauses are right in here. You have to highlight things, go through everything, paragraph by paragraph, page by page. Make sure that salary is correct. Make sure that Friday that you want off is correct. Make sure that PTO is correct. Make sure the CME money that they said they're going to pay you is correct. Like this contract is that I have right now. It has 10 pages plus an addendum of 5 pages. Like this is something that you really want to make sure that you look at. And this is also dictates how much you're going to be paid and what you're entitled to. Are you entitled to profit sharing in the company? Do you get a bonus every XYZ if you guys meet your quota, and anything over that? If you get paid via RVUs, then that would be different. But you get to dictate your salary in what your standards are. That's where you get to dictate everything at. And when I was an RN, and when you're an RN, you don't get any of that. You come in, you clock in at 8, you leave at 4, or you clock in at 7, you leave at 7:30. You get a 30-minute break. That's it. And that's another thing you got to make sure as an NP you do. You get your breaks in there, or if you need admin time, make sure all that stuff is in your contract, because I'm telling you, you got to make sure it's in your contract, because they're going to come back to you a year or two later and say it wasn't in your contract, so you don't get it, like me. If you know my story about my contract, I spoke on it the last 2 episodes. So you can go back and rewatch those 2 previous episodes to get more information there. And I give some tips, and I give you an insight of how I'm negotiating my contract and what I'm doing. I like to think that, as an NP, you are a partner. So, go in with the mindset that, okay, I'm a revenue generating provider. I'm making this business money. What do I need to stay here to be happy, so that later on in the process, when things are getting rough and I'm tired and I feel like I'm being worked really hard, what am I going to be okay with in this contract that will not make me resentful and make me leave this job at the drop of a dime because I'm tired of dealing with this bullshit? Like, that's how you really got to think about things. And when you are negotiating your contract and whatnot, I think I went off topic here. But think of it as a partnership, though. That's what you really want to do. You really want to think of, you went from being an employee to being a partner now. Now you're a partner in this company, in this business. This is what I need in my contract. This is what I want to, I'm going to negotiate my salary. I'm bringing in money into this, facility. This is what I need. And, you have increased practice authority as well as an NP versus as an RN. Like, you can prescribe medications for some of you who opt to be prescriptive, have prescriptive authority. You also do procedures, the INDs and suturing, things like that. So you have a broader base of skill set, and also intellectual and critical thinking skill set. And you also have take on a bigger liability. So you have to make sure that you insure yourself with malpractice insurance. I know as an RN, I wasn't too worried about malpractice insurance, but as an NP, make sure you have malpractice insurance. You need to have malpractice insurance, whether you're working, especially like I said, I was working multiple jobs. I was also working for myself under my business. So I really needed to have that malpractice insurance, but make sure you have malpractice insurance. That was a big thing that I didn't have as an RN that I have as an NP now as well. And I also like to put in a little caveat here. I also like to think of it as RN to NP to entrepreneur, because I know I said in my last video that I kind of wanted to shift, you know, our direction into really being more entrepreneurial in mindset, because that's kind of where I think I was lacking for years, and I would have came out a lot better today if I had a honed in on that sooner. Though I'm still in a pretty good position because I'm in my first 5 years of practicing, and I'm building a couple of businesses already. But some people never build a business, and they never even think about being an entrepreneur because they're stuck in this mindset that they are an employee to their company and they are loyal just to that company. They can't work anywhere else. No, as in our MP, a lot of MPs, at least the MPs that I know, because I actually have someone coming to consult with me regarding starting her own business. They all want to branch out because you just want more. It just was as if it's just like when you were an RN, you felt like you wanted more, so you went back to school to become an MP. Same thing as being an MP, you kind of feel like you start to feel like you want more. Entrepreneurship is not for everybody. You may decide that you want to do something else, maybe something outside of nursing or the medical field altogether, which I don't think that's a good, that's a awesome idea as well. I'm actually looking to do both, something still in being a nurse practitioner, but then something outside of nursing and medicine and healthcare that can bring in revenue. Because the number one thing that you always want to think of is stability and streams of income. And, how can you just basically support yourself if something like COVID happens again? So that's one of the things that I want you guys to think about. Even if you are still in school, what is something that you might think that you want to do as on your own as, an independent provider? Of course, if you work in a state where you have to have a collaborative agreement, you can just enter in a collaborative agreement with a physician and you still can do your own thing. I work in a restricted state, not completely restricted, but I have to have a collaborative, and I do that. And I also have my own thing where I'm in charge of all of charging of my income and the practice that I do and things like that. So I think that's all the things that I wanted to touch upon as far as the transition from RN to NP. Like I said, I do go over this in my NP course at mpnowllc.com. So this is a few things to think about. And I also wanted to know what you guys want to know. Send me a message. You can find me on Facebook at MP Now LLC. You can find me on Instagram at MP Now LLC as well. Send me a message, comment in the show, in the comments on this video. Let me know what you guys want to know as far as anything NP wise, so that I can give you guys the content that you are looking for and that's valuable to you. Because I'm getting a lot of good information, a lot of good topics to talk about from people now, and I want to know so that I can do some research for you guys if I don't know anything, and give you guys some really good feedback and information. So I think that's all for today, this Sunday. Thank you again for joining me on this Sunday. Happy Mother's Day to everyone who's a mommy, and also to our fur baby mommies and all the mommies out there and grandmoms. Thank you. I'll see you guys next Sunday, and be well.